Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Post-lunch sessions are always very challenging. We wouldn't use the word difficult, it is challenging. My book is all about business mistakes, who blunders and how. What I propose to do for the next 10 minutes, I'll tell you some stories as to blunders which companies and organizations do before I sit with Dr. Batra for our discussions on this subject, vested subject. Now, most of the books which are written is, of course, on success. Most of us don't write on business failures. So let me tell you some stories. Have you all heard of a bank called Yes Bank? And you must have also heard of a bank called Kotak Mahindra Bank. Both the banks started at the same time, 2001, 2002, when the banking licenses were getting released. That's the time it started. I wouldn't go too fast, too slow. Just to tell you a little further, if you remember, Yes Bank used to advertise very heavily, keep the savings bank and you will get 6%. Kotak Bank used to give 4%. And I'm not too sure whether you guys kept your money or deposited your money in Yes Bank, but highly advertised. Come 2018, Yes Bank goes belly up, goes bankrupt. And Kotak Mahindra Bank in 2018 declared the best financial results ever. Same market, same business, same competition, started at the same time. First-time entrepreneurs, one goes belly up, other makes success out of it. What's the reason? What is it that Yes Bank did not do, but Kotak Bank did? Maybe you'll say, okay, give me another hint, and I'll give you another hint. You have all heard of Big Bazaar. Kishore Biani, the king of retail trade, started Big Bazaar in same time, 2001, 2002. You would have also heard a retail business called DMart. Who hasn't heard of Mr. The Money? And DMart was also started in 2001, 2002. Big Bazaar, all over. Kishore Biani was a king of retail. He would be on the televisions everywhere. He would propone how to run a retail business. And you wouldn't even heard Mr. The Money speaking, even one interview, I'm quite sure. Result, 2018, Big Bazaar goes bankrupt. And I'm talking to you today, Mr. The Money perhaps has created the biggest and the best and the most profitable retail trade in the world. If time flies through, perhaps he would compete with Walmart. Same business, similar business, same market, same regulatory environment, started at the same time, first-time entrepreneurs, no difference. One goes bankrupt, another becomes extremely successful. So something must have gone wrong between these two, isn't it? And what has gone wrong? We can go talk about governance, we can talk about ethics. But what Yes Bank did not do and Kotak Bank did, what Big Bazaar did not do, but DMart did, is DMart and Kotak Bank understood what the customer wants. DMart, to make it life simpler, DMart grew through his branches with the asset belonging to himself. He never paid rentals. However, Big Bazaar was always on high streets, on high rents, because on high rents, necessarily he has to recover his rental cost to his dal and chawal. And therefore, Big Bazaar most expensive than DMart. DMart was the cheapest product available within 5 kilometers radius. That's what he used to announce. And see the outcome. Customer wanted not nearness, proximity. Customer wanted the cheapest product. DMart did it. Kishore Biani couldn't understand that's how the market should be run. Same story, Kotak Bank and Yes Bank. Yes Bank lent money to customers whom he knew from day one would not return the money. he actually took kickbacks to lend. Kotak Mahindra, Mr. Uday Kotak only lent money to those who believed will return the money. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, customers cannot be fooled. So the first mistake which most businesses do, contrary to our popular belief, that we don't understand what customers want. Let me tell another story. You must have all heard of a very large company called SR Steel, second largest private sector steel company in India. Big name. SR Steel was about 3 million tons capacity plant, extended to 5 million tons, became 10 million tons capacity plant. It was in Hazira, Gujarat. The dream was to bypass and cross across Jindal Steel, JSW Steel in those times. And perhaps you know that India produces about 100 million tons of steel. SR Steel increases 10 million tons, let's say about 10% of India's steel. And that was a vision. What did SR Steel do? SR did grow. He grew by taking loans from the banks. SR also did one thing. They acquired a foreign company in Canada called Algoma Steel by borrowing money from the banks worth about $1.4 billion. What is that SR Steel was doing? It was growing, it was galloping by taking loans and by taking debts. They were borrowing money without much concern as to how are we going to return the money. What is the answer of SR Steel today? SR Steel became bankrupt. And SR Steel today is now ArcelorMittal Steel. The company doesn't belong to the Ria family anymore. The company under insolvency banking code was auctioned off, and now it is apparently very profitable under ArcelorMittal. The mistake which SR Group did in this particular case is they took they took debt more than what they can ever repay. They topped up the debt just above the nostril. They just couldn't breathe. The second mistake which businesses do, ladies and gentlemen, they take debt more than what they can chew. Debt is sometimes a death trap. Mistake number one, which companies do, is customers not knowing what customers want. Mistake number two, some companies take too much of debt, and stories after stories, horrendous stories you will hear that companies have gone bankrupt and belly up because just took too much of debt. And there is a mistake number three, which I'm now going to tell you a little story. You must have all heard of a company called Ranbaxy. Ranbaxy was the second largest pharmaceutical company in India. Growing leaps and bounds all over the world, their products were available. You are perhaps aware that most of these Indian pharmaceutical companies grow by making or manufacturing and marketing drugs which are either out of their registration period, or what they do, they manufacture bioequivalents. That means they manufacture the same product little too differently, and they say this is the product of a generic version and this can be consumed by patients all over the world. Ranbaxy used to do that. And in 2003, 2004, it was a great success for India. You must have all consumed Revital, the famous advertisements you must have seen. And in 2006, the company recruited a research director for research director for the company, and he was a young director, and he said that when he joined this company, this research director, he was an Indian but having an American passport holder. He saw that something is amiss in this company, and what is wrong, and he was trying to figure out what was wrong in their organization. And the owners of Ranbaxy, Malvind and Shivander Singh, they found that this gentleman who has just come in is asking too much of stories. And then what happened is this young man, American Indian, he had a small little child, and the child was having an ear infection. This gentleman took the child to a doctor, a pediatrician. Pediatrician gave them a medicine. And he was a research director. He said, this bioequivalence is my office. I have it in my Ranbaxy in my office. So he goes into his office and takes the medicine, gives it to his little child, 3-year-old child, and the fever wouldn't go down. After 3 days, he's decided to go to the pediatrician again. The child is in deep trouble. Fever is not coming down. And it so happened the pediatrician was a lady, and she was very intelligent. And she asked this young research scientist that, what is the medicine you are giving him? And he said that I work for Ranbaxy, I am the research director, I'm giving the bioequivalence. He said, no, it was an antibiotic. Just go to the shop, buy a Glaxo product, GSK product, and just give the branded product, branded medicine. As soon as the medicine was given, within 1 hour, the fever came down. And he could understand there is some problem. Because he was all along thinking something is wrong with Ranbaxy, but he didn't know what it is. And it was 2006, 2007, 2007, 2008. The brothers found that this fellow is asking too many questions. They raided his office through the internal audit. Some of our chartered accountants here. They raided his office through internal audit. 5 days of raid, they found nothing. They planted his laptop, his computer, with blue movies. And they said, this fellow watches blue movies, so he should be sacked. On Friday afternoon, he was sacked. What does he do? By that time, he had a lot of shock. He did realize that there is something wrong. So he wanted to complain. The problem was that if he has to complain against Malvinder Shivinder Singh, that what will happen to his wife and child?Maybe they will be shot off. He didn't know the security and safety of his family. So ultimately, he got a lawyer who gave him bodyguards, and then they went to FDA. And you know what? The US FDA, Foods and Drugs Authorities, as you can well imagine, you know what they found? What was Ranbaxy doing? Ranbaxy was asking their managers, whenever they used to go abroad, to come back with some medicines in the handbag. You can't import medicine in India, but you bring in your handbag, doesn't matter. You can say, I bring some headache medicine, doesn't matter, nobody will catch. They used to then analyze, this to pulverize it. They used to analyze, and they used to then find out what is the chemical characteristic, and that correct chemical characteristic they used to then apply to their own medicine, which did not have those characteristics whatsoever. So they were placebos. Ranbaxy was manufacturing placebo, and they said, this is a heart disease medicine. This is a cancer curing medicine. This is a child cure medicine. This is a stomach medicine. This is an ulcer medicine. Can you beat it? Can you beat it? The second largest company in India was actually selling placebos and stating this is a cancer curing or a heart disease medicine. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, they found that this is what they were doing. They were fined $500 million. Till now, they have not paid. They are behind jail, as you know. And the edifice of pharma sector industry came down forever. If the second largest pharma company can do this, how can the world believe Indian pharma companies? The mistake number 3, ladies and gentlemen, many companies do, is to compromise on ethics or not abiding by good corporate governance. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, no company, I'm again telling you, no company ever goes down due to market reasons. No company ever. You will hardly find an example as illustrations or cases where companies have gone down purely due to market reasons. It's not. There are 3 things which happens, and these are the 3 mistakes if companies avoid, chances are that they will never ever suffer. 1, they need to understand what customers want. Many a times we believe we know, but actually we don't. Just imagine even Kishore Biani did not know what the customers were looking for. He thought customers were looking for proximity, but actually they were looking for cheap products. Second, don't take too much of debt. If you cannot pay the interest and principal on time, the bankers, the lenders are going to take the company away today or tomorrow. And third, you cannot cheat people all the time. Short term, few months, okay, but you cannot have a business edifice standing on poor corporate governance or lack of ethics. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. These are the 3 broad mistakes we should all take care of. We can now.